No se trata de tener suficientes papitas de McDonald's. Se trata de tener suficiente ketchup para asegurarte que cada papita tenga un turno. A menos que te atrevas a comer las papitas sin ketchup. Psst, te prometo que igual te seguirán encantando. Para, pa, pa, pa.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the After Buzz podcast. My name is Nico Adjemian, your host of the After Buzz, and of course with me is Mr. Buzz Adams. Hello, Buzzley.
Hey.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Yep.
No complaints.
No complaints. We had a good episode. We talked to Iron Maiden Bruce Dickinson. Iron Maidens. I guess he would be considered an Iron Maiden.
He is legitimately rock and roll royalty.
Is he still with the band?
Yeah. As far as I know. They
Right.
played some shows together this week. So.
Well, that was a fun interview. Any other thoughts?
Found out that he's big into fencing.
He is big into fencing, which was amazing to find out because it's hard to get anybody else to be like, oh, yeah, I get how athletic that is. And Bruce was there to be like, yeah, try 15 minutes of footwork and see what your legs feel like afterwards.
Burning, I would imagine.
Yeah. You're in a horse stance the whole time.
A horse stance?
Well, you're in a
Are you saying a horse
squat.
like the animal or a whore's stance? A horse stance or a whore's stance?
Your legs need to be open either way.
Okay.
It doesn't
Understood.
matter. I think in martial arts it's called a horse stance. But anyways, I got a couple topics I want to bring up today.
Are they nugs?
No, not nugs, actually. Just, I'm thinking of having a main topic and a less topic for each one. So kind of like how sitcoms have a plot line and a B plot line.
All right.
Like
Okay.
All right. So the A plot line I want to talk today about is James Bond and the search for a new one. And this actually comes on the heels of a new movie that just came out by Guy Ritchie called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Is that out?
I think it comes out this week.
Oh, okay. And it's based on true events, right?
It is actually, very interestingly enough.
Do
there's a
people
big
like
James Bond.
Ian Fleming show up as a character, or Raoul Dahl? These guys who,
Okay, so
were spies for the British.
They were some of the original spies.
Yeah.
Yes, Ian Fleming shows up as in a side, like a little side guest role. But the character, okay, we'll get into that right now. The other thing I was going to bring up is stand-up comedy. A lot of people are big stand-up fans, and you may not know about some of the more gossipy interactions about stand-up because there is a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on. And
As with any industry.
But I guess let's talk about the trends in this. All right, let's get into it. Austin, Texas has become the new mecca for stand-up comedy in the United States.
Because of Rogan's Club, right?
Joe Rogan opened up a comedy club called The Mothership, and it has 3 stages in it, just like the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. Or maybe it's just 2. They have a room called The Little Boy and a big.
They've got 3 at least.
I think there's 3 rooms at least, but there's one called Little Boy, another called Big Man. They're named after the bombs. And almost half of LA comics who were originally in LA have moved to Austin since.
Really?
Yes. And now there's other.
Boy, that seems like a hard thing to quantify. Let's just say a lot of people are relocating out to Austin.
Thousands, Buzz. I mean, it's
Really?
not. Yeah, because then you have more venues in Austin. You have some place called the Creek in the Cave, which is basically a comedy club. You have a place called the Vulcan Gas Company, which is a comedy club basically. Although I just don't know if they run the same as a club like the Mothership. I mean, there's different sizes of clubs, and they don't all get the same talent to each other. Anyways, so Ty Rivera, a good comic friend of ours, originally from Los Angeles. He was on Gabriel Iglesias' television show. Remember the one he had where stand-ups would get on Stand Up Revolution. It was called Stand Up Revolution at the time. And Ty, came from that. He moved to Austin, and he started a YouTube series and podcast where he talks about the inner workings of things. And he's recently been banned from the Mothership.
How come?
Well, he has brought up things like favoritism by the bookers there. and the bookers have kind of banned him.
Is it all right for the bookers to show favoritism?
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about and ask you. Whether you...
I get pitched for guest all the time, and I either have to give a yes or a no.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't give everybody a yes.
So people in the comments have been talking about how everybody in LA wanted to move to Austin because they thought there would be less gatekeepers. And what they're realizing is there's just as many gatekeepers in Austin as there are anywhere else.
Okay.
Are gatekeepers a good thing or a bad thing?
You mean like bookers?
Well, not necessarily just... Sure, I guess you could say it's the booker or the person who gives you that spot. But let's say... yeah, I guess so. I guess bookers. But not everybody is a full-time booker. You know what I mean? Some people are comics and book things on the side. But I call gatekeeping filters. Filters are good sometimes. You know, when you filter your water, you don't want all the crap to come out of the water that you drink. You filter it.
Okay.
And anyway, so there's just this whole new conversation about gatekeeping and comedy in Austin. Kill Tony has been a big engine for motivating newer comics to start and giving them their shot.
And what is Kill Tony?
Kill Tony is a comedy podcast, a live podcast that they record at the mothership. Tony Hinchcliffe, a comic, has a panel of people on a big stage. They have a live band in the back. And they have guest comics like Joe Rogan, Donnell Rawlings, Roseanne Barr, just any huge comic that comes through. They will be on the dais, if you will, on the stage with Tony, and total random strangers go pull a bucket, their name from a bucket, or somebody pulls their name from a bucket. And if your name gets called, you get to go up on stage and perform for 1 minute.
Wait. So everybody who puts their name in the bucket is a comic?
Or trying to be.
Or aspiring comic?
Yes.
You get to go up and do 1 minute.
So it goes for everybody, whether they just started, they've been to one open mic, or it could be Ty Rivera or somebody that's a professional. Or BT actually just put up a post. And this is how crazy it is, Buzz.
Did they like BT?
No, he didn't go up. BT put up a post of a picture of himself in front of the mothership. And then the caption said, "One day, I'll be here, Joe Rogan, one day." Like, he's aspiring. BT, this professional stand-up comic that we know who comes in to do the club here all the time, nationally touring, is saying, man, I aspire to be here.
One of these days.
One of these days.
I'm going to get to go in on this podcast thing and maybe do a minute.
And then...
Is that correct?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So these people who do a minute, they either, do well or they do poorly, and then there's a little interview afterwards. So Tony will ask, questions, and then they'll either roast you for how bad your set was or compliment you for how good it was.
And what effect does that have on the people?
You mean the audience or the comics?
The comics.
Okay. What can happen is...
Now, are there there are people in the audience who are not comics, whose names are not
right.
In the
There's
bucket.
people who are just watching the show. But people are becoming completely famous.
Because they had a good appearance on Kill
Tony. Because they got their name pulled one
time.
time.
Can you name somebody that applies to that I would recognize their name?
No, because
I thought you said they become famous.
You wouldn't recognize... Well, yeah, because you wouldn't recognize fame these days when it's niche-like and when there's so many different... if you're going to say, well, the only way I know if somebody's famous
is if I've ever heard of them?
If I hear their name in the top... Yeah, of course. You're so ignorant about common trends. Wait. You're going to sit here and tell me you think you are up to date and aware of all the famous people in life?
I just thought I asked a simple request. Can you name a couple of these people who've really blown up?
Cam Patterson, David Lucas, Hans Kim. I mean, all these people that are touring nationally now and getting millions of views and followers, and they're, you are out of the loop, my friend. You are completely out of the loop.
Well, if they haven't been on Carson yet, then I haven't heard of them.
Exactly. Right. Okay. But some of these people are like, I'll give this comic, his name is Hans Kim. He's become a regular. So if you do well on the Kill Tony, you get a golden ticket and they'll let you come back every once in a while. They're not necessarily great comics. They're not guys who have years of stagecraft under their belt and are amazing at these things. They're guys who have gotten very good off of these one minute appearances and maybe making some very crude jokes or shocking or surprising jokes.
Okay.
And now they're getting booked all across the country. What do you think that says about the state of comedy? Or performance, even?
Sounds like a lot of people out there are jelly.
Yeah.
This guy.
Absolutely.
This fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
I'm funnier than
him. Jumped the line.
And it's all because his name got drawn out of a bucket.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, that's not weird to you or crazy or what? I mean...
Well, I think, and I'm not the expert on comedy here, but I think if you're not talented, the audience will find that out soon enough.
But see, sometimes, and you may have commented on this before, where you say, why do people listen to this or like this podcast or watch this TikTok? They're doing nothing, or they're talking about nothing. And these days, you just have to be a fan of the personality on stage and not necessarily care if they were funny or like their set. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you don't make new fans based off your 1 minute set on this thing that you really have to be a comedy insider.
You do. What you do is you put it online, you post that 60 seconds, and you've made a bunch of fans.
Oh, okay.
It seems like a shortcut to me. To me, it seems like a shortcut. But
was it a shortcut that you would jump at the chance to take?
Okay, could I...
Let's say you had an in and they're like, you show up here tonight, and I guarantee you get on
Kill Tony. And I do have that in. No, I could go to Kill Tony.
But you haven't. No, you're definitely going to get in.
Yeah, I could definitely get in. I could definitely get my name drawn for one of those.
Wait. Is the name drawing rigged?
Yeah, okay. It's a big news on the podcast, guys. The drawings are rigged, just so you know. That they will put up who they like and who they know of, and then maybe
pull one or two that are actually
five,
random.
yeah, 5 to 10 maybe.
All right. Well, they can. It's their deal. They can do it the way they want to.
Yeah,
I guess.
They can do however they want. My thing is, and I have gotten offered when I first started. Comics would say, "Hey, how much time can you do?" And the reason a lot of times they ask is because they either like you and they want to know if they could use you for a certain spot on a show.
Or
they're just testing you. I would answer honestly most of the time. And the reason I didn't want to get booked for bigger shows when I had first started, and which is why I wouldn't, what I'm trying to answer is I wouldn't want to become famous off of a 1 minute early on in my career because I don't think I could fill the time if they asked me to do more. Does that make sense?
Okay, I guess so.
Like Dat Fan won
the first season of Last Comic Standing.
And it was famous because he only could do 15 to 20 minutes. And when he won, they were asking him to do an hour.
And the reason he won, I remember this because I watched the first season of Last Comic Standing.
Right, Ralphie May got second.
It's the thing, he had the more compelling personal story, and the people at home were not voting so much on his stand-up ability as they were on his backstory.
And now we come to that the crux of the matter. I feel like it is.
All right.
But does that answer your question? Like, I wouldn't want to be given a big opportunity until I knew I was ready to take it, to really embrace that opportunity and make a success out of it. Because you could give me theater spots right now, and I would be expected to do 1 hour. And no, I don't think I could cover that whole hour like the way I would want to.
An hour?
Yeah.
As an opening comic for another
comic?
As a
No, these guys aren't getting booked as openers. These guys are getting booked as headliners.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you thought when I said, they're getting booked across the country from this? You thought as openers? No, they're getting booked as headliners across the country.
Or features.
Nope, headliners. Headliners across the country.
And you're saying that some of these people, although they did very well on Kill Tony, they don't have
an hour.
They don't have enough material for an hour.
You don't have enough experience to put into practice.
Okay.
And there's people who work for years, 10 to 15 years, who, and I'm not including myself necessarily. I know guys who have, and BT. Look at BT. BT should be way bigger than Hans Kim and Rick Diaz. He's way better than them, but they're the ones getting...
I just want to say to Hans Kim and Rick Diaz, I don't know you guys. These opinions are all Nico's.
These are just my opinion. Sorry.
Not my opinion.
I think if Hans Kim met BT and knew him, he would admit himself, BT's better than me.
Okay.
because that's just years of experience put to use. And it kind of seems like, what's the point anymore? Why don't I just write for 1 minute? Then that's the whole thing I need to work on. Get that 1 minute, go to Austin, get a job at the door as a door guy at the mothership, get put on a couple times, say some stuff about abortion, and
Why do you say? Oh, because they go with some pretty rough material.
Of course they do. They think
pretty coarse.
They think shocking and shock comedy is just where you go.
God, it seems like it'd be really hard to get famous off shock comedy if you only had a minute to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It needs some context. Mm-hmm. Some broader context.
There's some other really good comics that have become famous off it. This guy named Casey Rocket, hilarious and very talented off that 1 minute. You can tell he's just like already got that experience. Right. Anyways, it's an interesting time in stand-up comedy, and you hear so many different opinions about it now. And this Austin thing is not going to go away. You're going to definitely hear more about it.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about James Bond. And that's good enough.
We can't play it anyway. We can't play any licensed material.
This doesn't count. Humming doesn't. Okay, the Ministry for Ungentlemanly Warfare is coming out this week.
Guy Ritchie movie, huh? Like Guy Ritchie.
Starring Henry Cavill, Alan Ritchson, who played Reacher.
I think it's just Alan Ritchson.
Alan Ritchson, who played Reacher. And it is based on a true story.
The story of?
The first Black Ops team in history.
Define Black Ops.
Black Ops are operations not officially sanctioned by your government and using means that would be considered ungentlemanly.
like compromising material.
Yeah. And it's based on the 2014 book Churchill's Secret Warriors: The Explosive True Story of the Special Forces.
Wait, is Alan Ritchson going to be doing a British accent in this?
He does a Swedish accent.
Oh, okay.
The film.
I wish him luck with that.
The film portrays a heavily fictionalized version of Operation Postmaster. It was a British special operation conducted on the Spanish island of Fernando Po during the Second World War to damage U-boats and sabotage German U-boats. Okay, so Henry Cavill plays a character named Gus March Phillips. Now, this is the character that Ian Fleming actually based James Bond off of.
Okay, now is Gus James whatever the hell?
Gustavus Henry March Phillips.
A real person who actually lived.
A real person who actually lived.
He's playing a biographical person.
He's playing the biographical person that James Bond was based off of. And that's they show him meeting
Ian Fleming
in the movie. Now, he wasn't a normal officer or soldier. He was actually a con man and a criminal.
Oh.
And they went to him saying, could you do this operation where we're going to say, we don't know you if you get caught. And you have to complete it at any cost. And he was like, sure, I'll go forward with it.
And we're going to trust you because you're a well-known con man and criminal. Right? Doesn't that seem like a weird risk to take if you're the British government?
It does.
Now, we see here, listed under occupation, you have con man and criminal. So do you give us your word?
Well, I think they thought, for Queen and country, for patriotism, and for the type of operation, we need a man just like this.
Okay.
Henry Cavill plays a good, in the trailer, I haven't seen the movie, but he plays it great.
Did you hear about the fake trailer they put out?
No.
For James Bond 26?
Yeah, oh yeah, I did see it.
And it's got Henry Cavill and Margot Robbie.
It looked great.
And I guess they must have used AI probably to do it. I haven't seen it yet.
Well,
a lot of people want Henry Cavill to be James Bond.
Thank you. That's why I'm bringing this up right now. Okay. A lot of people want Henry
But
Cavill
it
to be
looks
James
like
Bond.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, from all the rumors, has the inside track on the.
He's not even British, right? Is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. The guy from Kick-Ass?
He didn't have an accent in Kick-Ass.
Well, he's a good actor. He is. He has a British accent in Bullet Train. Did you ever see Bullet Train? Bullet Train is actually a good movie. Mm-hmm. It's got Brad Pitt in it, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I never saw it, but it did look good.
It.
Yeah,
It's good.
Well, Henry Cavill's already been considered to play James Bond in the past. Before Daniel Craig was considered, it was actually between him.
Really? He must have been very young.
He's 22.
Yeah.
And
he wouldn't shave his mustache for that either.
The director for Casino Royale said in an interview recently that the producers went with Daniel Craig because they thought Henry Cavill was too young at the time.
Yeah.
Well, now he's 40, Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Now it's almost like you're aging out.
That's exactly what the insiders are saying, that Henry Cavill might be too old to play James
I don't think
Bond.
he's too old to play him for a couple of movies, but if you're looking for somebody to head up like 6 installments, did you know that Timothy Dalton was under consideration to replace Sean Connery
before Roger
Moore, and they decided the same thing. He's just a little too young. Mm-hmm. So Timothy Dalton then had to end up waiting something like 17 years, and then he finally got cast as James Bond.
Same with Pierce Brosnan. It was between Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan for that.
But he was doing Remington Steele at the time.
He was doing Remington Steele.
Yeah. I don't think your James Bond can be too young. I don't think a naive, just learning his craft James Bond is what Bond fans want to see.
Well, I think it depends on where you are in the series, right? Because the Daniel Craig one was supposed to be a reboot. So, yeah, don't go with a young person unless you're rebooting it again, right? If they're going to try and continue forward from where Daniel Craig's James Bond left off, which is what they kind of did with Sean Connery and Roger Moore into Timothy Dalton, although they never explain how they're the same age throughout the whole time, but it's at different stages in their careers.
Oh, the fan theory that James Bond is actually
The
a false
code name?
identity. Yeah, it's a code name. It's like whatever agent gets the 007 designation
you're Bond
also
now.
gets the James Bond thing. So,
Yet somehow they're all commanders in the British Navy.
I read a book, or at least I read a summary of a book written by a real spy who was saying the last thing you would want to get from a spy is somebody that attracts all eyes when they walk in a room. Somebody as handsome as Henry Cavill, or as
a spy,
as dashing as Roger Moore, or as handsome as anybody who's played James Bond.
Because that's noticeable?
Yeah. You just want to be nondescript and not stand out in a crowd. And
That guy stands out.
Right. I think we would all agree most of the actors who played James Bond stand out in a crowd.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've never even thought about it like that.
Also, he introduces himself by name at the beginning of every movie.
Bond.
So you play Baccarat very well, Mr. Bond. James Bond.
Right?
Yeah, give me your social security number while you're at it. It's weird. I loved James Bond movies, though, when I was growing up.
Did your dad like him?
Yeah. We'd go see them together.
Really?
Yeah, we both enjoyed James Bond movies.
Would you say that's one of the few things you guys really bonded over?
I wouldn't say
one of the television shows, or one of the media things you guys really...
I would take the word few out. We bonded over plenty of stuff.
What else did he like?
Goofy comedies. So, when the first Naked Gun came out, he wanted to go see that. Like really dumb comedies. I don't know, just any time.
Didn't you guys watch a lot of Bonanza together?
Gunsmoke was the one.
Sorry, Gunsmoke. Yeah.
It was really Gunsmoke was the one that we both were into. Indiana Jones. He loved the Indiana Jones series.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
James Bond was always playing on TNN or TBS at Christmas or Thanksgiving growing up. Every year you could count on a James Bond marathon.
Yeah.
And so that kind of became a tradition for my brother and my dad and me to watch it every holiday. Henry Cavill, yes or no on James Bond? Would you like to see him? based on the AI thing, it made it look good.
I need to look at that because I haven't seen it, but everybody said it looked really great. Yeah, I think so. I think Henry Cavill would probably be really good.
Who would be your who in your? I know you prefer Roger Moore over all of them. You think that he's the best.
I think he probably matches the character in the book.
Who do you think would be the best?
1940s era band leader Hoagie Carmichael.
What?
Because
whoa. What?
Because they once asked Ian Fleming, what does James Bond look like? And he might even put this in one of the novels, that he was a dead ringer for the band leader Hoagie Carmichael.
Dude, well, I don't want to turn my computer around, but he does look
like he could be a James Bond.
He looks dashing, yeah. He has like very prominent cheekbones and a long face.
Anyway, that's coming directly from Ian Fleming.
Okay, I could see that. You know who would be, in my opinion, like a very suave, very good...
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, absolutely.
I think Idris Elba would have been great.
I'm a big Ewan McGregor fan.
Yeah.
And I think he could play a really, like, on the Roger Moore-ish type. Less of the action and more of the debonair.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor's like in his 50s now, though.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he's still great. I still love him.
Who are a bunch of young actors then?
Well, there's Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Interesting. See, I think Robert Pattinson is a really, really capable actor. Fine actor. Yeah, I think Robert Pattinson would do great. I think I guess the deal is the actor either has to be British, Irish, Scottish, or Australian.
Mm-hmm.
So far.
They won't take any Yanks. Because that's an insult, really, to something that's a British institution.
You know, whatever. Henry Cavill played Superman and Christian Bale played Batman. So
yeah, you're fucking lying.
Fuck you guys. It's time we had an American Bond. There you go. It's time for an American Bond.
Okay.
Jacob Elordi. He's not American.
Is he British?
I believe that's correct.
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum would have if he was interested in it, would have been a great Bond.
Austin Butler.
Yeah, I don't know if he could pull it off.
I'm just thinking of young American actors. Eddie Redmayne. I know he's British.
I don't see a ginger Bond, man.
Wait, Roger Moore was ginger.
Roger Moore was not a ginge. Roger Moore had brown hair. It was when Daniel Craig took over, a lot of people were like,
blonde? What?
James Blonde? What the hell? He doesn't even drink martinis or smoke cigarettes anymore.
Could you see a gender swap? Could you see a female Bond? I mean, they're doing that a lot with movies these days. I feel like almost people would like be outraged and be like, no, this is a character that you just don't...
That would be a very deliberate decision to do.
You don't mess with the formula.
I don't know. I mean, they had the first Doctor Who was a female, and I never saw any of it, but the world didn't quit spinning or anything. You know, it didn't summon the four horsemen of the apocalypse or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
I mean, did you see it? Did people like the female Doctor Who?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't kept it up since David Tennant, but
yeah, really,
I think she was fine. Right.
Matt Smith was pretty much my last Doctor Who. Matt Smith.
Oh, yeah. What about Matt Smith?
As Bond?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Like it.
I could see that.
Uh-huh.
Timothy Chalamet.
No.
You couldn't see him?
Timothy Chalamet shouldn't... I mean, James Bond shouldn't be played by anybody that looks like most of the people in the audience could kick their ass.
So I guess that takes Tom Holland out of the running?
Yeah, right. Tom Holland's going to get a fight. The bad guy's going to pick him up and put him in his suit pocket and carry him out. Odd job. Take care of Mr. Bond. He just puts him in the hat. He doesn't even throw the hat. He's just like, get in the hat, little man.
Come on, kid. Okay. Well, I think
Do
that's
you know what my favorite Bond theme song, other than the main Bond theme song, is?
Okay, so you're talking about how each movie would have a dedicated song for the movie, and oftentimes didn't being in a Bond movie, having your song in the Bond movie, was a feather in your cap.
Sure. I mean, some great artists have done it. For
Paul
sure.
McCartney. You probably like the Paul
I
McCartney
do.
one. Yeah.
Live and let die.
Oh God, which is the one that I like?
For your eyes only.
gonna kill me.
Only
I'm gonna have to-
for you.
List of James Bond songs.
There's Goldfinger.
That one.
Goldfinger.
I think you would have to put that in the top 3. I think anybody would have to put that in the top 3.
Well, the Paul McCartney one is in my top 1. I thought that was the best one.
Oh, God, what's the one?
All I wanted was
The Living Daylights? How's that one go?
I don't remember.
Oh, no, View to a Kill. Sorry. View to a Kill. Duran
Holy
Duran.
shit, that was Duran Duran,
Yeah,
right?
that's the one. That's the best one.
Yeah. I didn't think that was as good as most of their well-known songs.
Really?
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Hungry Like the Wolf would have been a better James Bond theme song.
All right, I think that's going to do it for today's episode of the After Buzz podcast. Let us know what your thoughts are. Who's your favorite James Bond? Who could you see playing a good James Bond? What about the songs? And which one's your favorite? All of those questions and more, let us know at our neckline, which you can call at
844-805-NECK. That's 844-805-6325.
or you can leave us a message by emailing us at Nico at KLAQ.com or Buzz at KLAQ.com.
2 Z's.
Tuesdays. Don't forget to listen to the AfterBuzz podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, and the regular Buzz Adams Morning Show, 6 to 10 a.m., Monday through Friday, KLAQ 95.5. Talk to you all next time.
This country was built on a distinctly American work ethic, but today, work is in trouble. We've outsourced most of our manufacturing to other countries, and with that, we sent away good jobs and diminished our capability to make things. American Giant is a clothing company that's pushing back against this tide. They make a variety of high-quality clothing and activewear, like sweatshirts, jeans, dresses, jackets, and so much more. All made right here in the USA, from growing the cotton and adding the final touches. So when you buy American Giant, you create jobs for seamsters, cutters, and factory workers in towns and cities across the United States. And it's about more than an income. Jobs bring pride, purpose. They stitch people together. If all that sounds good to you, visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order when you use code STAPLE20 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with promo code STAPLE20.